The years leading up to and during menopause are a rite of passage. The wise woman inside of us is calling to slow down, to take stock, to speak our truth, to burn away all that no longer serves us, ready for our next cycle of life. The good news is, with the support, community, connection, and most of all, sharing our stories and being truly seen and heard, we will travel through this powerful, sometimes painful, heroine's journey and out the other side. Welcome to the Menopause Podcast, real and raw stories of midlife and mental health. I'm your host, Kylie Patchett, menopause self-care coach and storyteller, and I am so glad you found us. Let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Menopause Podcast. Today, I'm talking to the lovely Kerri Hummingbird. Hey, Kerri, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm glad to be here, Kylie.
We were just discussing pronunciations, and I think I should probably warn people I have just come off COVID. So if I have any funny voice moments, please excuse me. And hopefully I'll be able to speak properly, Kerri. All right, let's dive in here. So for the people that don't already know of your beautiful self, could you just introduce yourself to our listeners, please?
Yes. Well, I am Kerri Hummingbird. I am a medicine woman, a mother, a mentor, and I've got two beautiful sons of my own who are in their 20s and early 20s. And I have a wonderful partner, second husband, and two other beautiful stepkids that are in their high school years. And I run a community and do a training program called Inner Medicine because I believe it's all about the inner journey. And then medicine is already inside of you.
Yeah.
And you just got to discover it and find a way to tap into that unique thumbprint you are. So I'm all about the inner medicine, and I'm all about connecting back with Mother Earth and taking that journey to rediscover the power of the mystery and the feminine and embracing that and coming into our power, especially all of us that are going through menopause that have gone through it, stepping into our wisdom years and, really recreating that grandmother web and around a whole planet that is sorely missing, and they need our voices. So I'm excited to share more as we go along, but that's me in a nutshell.
I have to ask you about the grandmother web. So weird. Okay. Anyway, please explain what you mean by grandmother web in terms of what I'm seeing in my head is something that I dreamt about many, many years ago and keeps coming up in conversation. So I'm interested to see what you say.
Yeah. So women's used to be the backbone of every tribe. I mean, we were the backbone of every single community. And we were the ones that, as we raised children, we got wise. And then we became the wisdom keepers for the tribe. And we were the grandmothers that wove the webs, told the stories, entertained the children, helped the young women, and brought our wisdom into the center of the tribe, into the council meetings, and said, this is what we feel, this is what we see, our mystical connection, our bodies, we feel this from Mother Earth, and this wisdom was included in all these decisions. And we've of course gotten away from that over this last couple thousand years, but we need to return to it.
Yeah, it's so cool. What I've always seen. Do you know? I don't even know whether you have these in the States, so this may just be a weird reference point. But when we sometimes, particularly in country Australia, make a pot of tea, we use a tea cozy over the tea pot. Do you have them? The knitted covers over the teapots? Yeah. So when I think about the web as you're talking about it, it's like one of those, but around the world. It's like holding in all the wisdom, and it's like a safety net kind of thing. But also I was listening to something the other day about spiders and webs, and they have this, I'm not going to remember the language now, but it's it's one part of the web that's like the sensing part. So no matter how big the web is, if they're in contact with that one particular strand, then they're in contact with everything that's happening in the whole. So that's cool too when you think about that so if you imagine all of these wise women literally energetically holding all of us and being able to sense what we need ahead of time. It's very, very cool.
Yeah,
Very
and
cool.
that opens up the dialogue about intuition and
Yes.
mother's wisdom, and that our bodies are designed for this. Actually, our bodies have, I don't know, 3 times the receptors of men's bodies, so we're just designed to sense and feel.
Yeah.
And when we tap into that, when we remember ourselves as part of Mother Earth, like not separate, not walking on Earth as if Earth is a floor. No, separate, not the same. Mother Earth in us, in our bodies. And when we reconnect with that Mother Earth network, that mycelial network, that the mushrooms provide for us, when we
Yes.
connect back into the roots and we feel the pulse of her heartbeat, and we feel the pulse of all of life on Earth, and we can feel the pulse of our family systems. We can feel the pulse of our communities, and some of us feel it so preciously, it's like a little overwhelming. And we get to learn how to build our capacity to hold space in that way. And we do it by becoming unified, right? Around that web, not conformity, not,
Yes.
it's just a
Very
mistake,
different.
not conformity, but like through our own filters and through our own bodies and our own histories, our own wisdom, connecting in with that network of Earth, and feeling what is coming through our bodies, our wisdom, our wombs, our hearts, and to share what is coming forward, and to be courageous about speaking those words and speaking up, and and practicing ritual and ceremony again to keep things on track, and move things forward, really honestly, to where we need to be. We're in a time of great change, I'm sure everybody knows.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of cower in the corner with it, or you can lean into your gifts and trust that your voice matters, your wisdom matters, what's coming through you matters, and speak it.
Yeah.
Speak it into being.
Feels like a quickening at the moment, doesn't it? We were just talking before we started recording about I've felt the last week. I haven't had COVID before, but I felt like I'm in this kind of weird in between where I don't know, there's some major shift happening, but it's like sleeping lots and not being 100% conscious in between napping because I've been so sick, but feeling like there's just some sort of, I don't know, download happening, or knowing being installed, or maybe not actually installed, woken back up or uncovered or something, because I think, all of us have it. I'm interested, as I'm hearing you speak, you're talking about the natural ability for women to sense and to have a knowing and be connected back through their lineages, and all of this sort of depth of, I guess, a positive reference point for being mothers and females. Where do you feel that we got so off track that there is almost like in my awareness, it's almost like we've come to this point where we've been told that we can have it all and do it all and all of those things. Because as I'm listening to you speak, the grandmother web is about having a place in a community and being able to offer support, but also be given support. And somewhere along the line, we've created this kind of disconnection where we don't live in community. Mothers still are the thermostats and the feelers and the sensors of their family units in general, like most of the time. But it's like we're not getting the flip side of the give and receive support, are we?
Yeah, there's a lot of history that explains all that. And but what I want to start with is that we're in the time of the eagle and the condor, according to all the native peoples. And the eagle, at least in South America and North America, and the eagle represents that independence, that freedom, that flight, that mind, that access of higher mind, right? And we could see the ingenuity of that through all the technology that connects the whole planet together now, and the independence that led us to all these far reaches of the whole planet. And we could call that also colonization,
Yeah.
and so, but that spreading, right, that integration with assimilation of other cultures, right? And so there's that ego, but it's very materialistic and it's very ego focused. It's very me, mine,
It's
mine,
me. Yeah. Yeah.
it's me because
Mm-hmm.
it's mind.
Yeah.
And we are blending that now with the heart. And the heart is all of these beautiful wisdom traditions that survived this sort of penetration of that masculine mind, right?
Yeah.
The wisdom traditions that survived and the elders that survived, and those tribes are nearing their end of their lifetimes with their young ones being so seduced by this me, mine, mine. And now at the same time that's happening in the West, we're at the end, the edges of our me, mine, mine, seeing it doesn't work as a dead end. And we're looking to the wisdom keepers to go, what's next? And so you see this figure eight, is going, oh, I need you. I need your wisdom. I need you. I need you. And we're both seeing, I need you. I need you. And so we have to find a balance now.
Yeah.
And as I said that, I got body chills all over because this is truth. And so everybody has got a magical piece of the puzzle to fill. And some of those pieces are in the heart medicine, and some of those pieces are in the mind. But the mind does need to submit to the heart, and the heart needs to open up freedom for the mind. So there's like this, because in the heart-based traditions, there's been a lot of rules and regulations, and you can't do it only for the community and the family, and there's all this red tape, which is why the mind sliced through it and said, no, I'm going to go do what I need to do. I got to get out of here. Don't chain me. I got to go,
I'll be a
and it's like, yeah, I'm pioneering, get out of my way. But now the mind is like, okay, I don't want to be all alone. I've reached the end of transaction. I want to trust again. I've reached the end of lone wolf. I need community. And that's what the heart knows. So we're learning from each other, and it's like, it's not just the way it is anymore in the heart-based traditions. And it's also not just about me in the mind-based tradition. So we're coming together. And so I believe that we all need to pull together now at these times and really listen. So it's a time of deep listening and reflection, which means we also need to slow down and we need to come within and we need to listen to our intuitive senses. And see, the history is all these things being blocked, right? Like women don't evil, your intuition is evil. Don't listen to that. Like
don't have any more power.
So we have like this history, right, that led women to believe that they needed to submit themselves to men, like my grandmother in the Bible Belt in Midwest Texas.
Yes.
And that women can't trust your intuition, and that we can't listen to what's beyond the veil because it's scary and evil and devilish, and so we've lost connection with our bodies because we had to ignore what the body was saying in order to comply. We lost touch with our intuition, our womb wisdom. We lost touch with our power, which is our community. Because in the community, women are the ones that are all connected into the pulse of the community. That's, when we're in our true power, we're really connected. We're the center, we're the hub. We're the hub of the family. We're feeling everything. We're sensing everything. Everyone's telling us things. We're processing that information with honor and integrity. We're working as a tribe to bring everybody to their highest. That's the highest vibration. But when you disempower a woman, she's still the center of the family. It's just that now she's disempowered.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you got manipulation. You got,
passive
gossip, passive aggressiveness, jealousy, all the power dynamics that we've seen.
Amazing. Hey, when you say it like that, it's just so because I usually say, like, the word that I've often said is like the emotional thermostat of the family and the community and whatever. But now with your words around web and the way that you have been speaking about it, I still have in my mind this, everyone, all the women connected to that sensing part of the web where it's like, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the power dynamic comes back through, systems of oppression are always going to come back to a power dynamic. But when you have the center and the center and the sensor. So I'm trying to say two clear words without doing the coughing thing. But when you have those people connected and empowered, very different to, yeah, because I'm thinking about my own life where I have felt very cut off from my power and how poisonous that was to, you know, my family group, my community group, my group of friends, all of those things, because it ripples out amongst, you know, everyone that we touch then. I'm just interested, Kerri, when you think back to a younger version of yourself, when have you always known this truth, or did you have your eyes closed when you were younger? Or heart closed, maybe I should ask.
My eyes were probably like pasted shut.
Shut.
You know, like,
that's what I'm thinking about myself. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, damn.
Yeah, but you know, there was something in me that knew something that things weren't right, and my heart knew it. And you know, I think for me, I was lucky because I was always inspired to keep my art. And so I was always doing art and paintings. And I spent a lot of time, I like to paint the outdoors.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time outside in nature, painting my garden or painting, you know, just doing paintings of the landscapes. And so I spent a lot of time in nature. And I think that saved me from even worse consequences because I already went through a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was at least in nature and connecting.
Yeah.
And you know, and trying to replicate what I was seeing and focused on beauty.
Yes.
And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have made it so far. But, you know, that, yeah, I didn't know who I was. I had no idea my power. I had no idea that I was the center. I was put on the pedestal, but I was also kicked off it and then put on it and kicked off it and put on it and kicked off it.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, the pedestal I was on, you know, this is the ironic thing. So I went to college and I went to Smith College, which is a really well-known Ivy League school, you know, in New England.
Yeah.
And I went there on a scholarships and stuff because my family didn't have a lot of money. I was one of the poor people they let in, you know. It was like, okay, you have brains, you can come in, you know.
You're allowed.
And, yeah. And I did really well, but it was interesting. I was surrounded by really smart women and I was learning about independence and I mean, they did a great job teaching, but then not a short 10 years later, I'd already dumbed myself down in a way, right? Falling into the expectations that I should be pretty like the Barbie movie that just came out, right? Like I should look like this. I should be skinny. My husband wants me skinny. You know, I got to have like the right outfits and my acrylic nails and my hair just so, and don't embarrass him by saying anything controversial, you know, and don't be yourself, you know, like don't be loud, you're too loud, you're too much.
Yeah.
You're emotional, stop being emotional. And trying to fix myself to like, why can't I stop being so emotional? Why can't I stop being a problem? You know, and I was trying to stop for, you know, going to weekly psychotherapy sessions. And then I became a mother. Man.
Welcome.
Hello. I didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah. And I went to a deep depression. I had postpartum depression. I was seeing a black hole in the center of the floor in the shower and going, what did I just sign up for?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I had to pull myself together. But it was all this trauma, you know, from my early childhood that came up to the surface for clearing. I didn't know that at the time. I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah.
But it deepened me and it was asking me, and there was this self-loathing that was coming out because I'd been such a allowing myself to be the pedestal girl. For so long. That I hated who I became. I hated it.
Abandoned yourself. Yeah.
I abandoned myself.
Yeah.
And I believed him. And you know, and so I started putting my foot down about, well, I need time away. He's like, I have to babysit. I'm like, no, you have to parent.
Yeah, exactly. That your children love.
I'm taking a break right now so I can restore myself. And yes, you have to parent for the weekend or you have to parent for an evening. And so it was this like realization of what I needed to assert myself. I needed to stand for myself. And I needed to do it because of my son that needed me to be well to be his mother.
Yes.
So he actually taught me self-love
Yeah.
by needing me to show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that is the lesson we're being faced with as women right now, because I hear so many stories from so many women that are in some form of transition, like I can't stay in this relationship anymore the way this is. I can't have a voice. I'm not being held. I'm not being supported to do my heart's desire. I I feel like a fraud, with my kids. I'm telling them to do this, but I'm not doing it. And I'm putting up with this abuse and I don't want to anymore. Or, my father just died and now I'm seeing all this ugly stuff in my family and I'm caught in the middle, and it's all these stories and there's different flavors and different details, but we're being called forward, to really be independent, self-responsible, sovereign, and interdependent once we know who we are in truth.
Yeah. 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 I do think when you were saying before about the depression that turned up at the same time as that big transition to being a mother, I feel like that is the gift, the silver lining, and also the hardest part of any sort of big transition in our lives is that it does tend to, bring to the surface, or is it bring to the surface, or is it reveal the things that you have not actually dealt with that are yet to be healed, or the depths of, I want to say, like, the splinters of lack of alignment in ourselves. Like, what is in the way of me being the full expression of myself that I know with my sensing is there, but I'm still not in integrity with that. So how does it, what's I guess I always like to use the language of invitation. Like what's the invitation? What am
The
I being asked
invitation,
to?
yeah, I think is to know yourself. That was my invitation, is to know myself in truth.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I had all these opportunities, right? Like just popping up in my space where I could all I had to do was walk right in the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm taking my little baby on these walks, in depression, I'm in group therapy and personal therapy, and I'm doing my work. I have a mom's group, so I'm hanging out with them. I'm really trying to get a handle of this mom thing, like
Yeah.
this is
How
a
does
whole
this
new
work?
world. Like, what is this? And I'm walking him along in that stroller, and I kept stopping in front of this Center for Spiritual Enlightenment. And I would stand outside the gate and look. My whole body would just stop, and I would just go, oh, I feel like I need that. And I would go home and tell him about it. And he'd say, oh, they're just a scam. It's just going to take your money. You shouldn't do that. And I would go back the next day and I would stand in front of almost like somebody just needed to see me doing that and just come out and be like,
come on,
would you like to come
through.
Inside right now? Like,
come through
it
the
looks
gates.
like you have a quandary. Like, I think this will help you. But it was so hard to get across the threshold. And I never did at that point. And it was another, I would say, from that moment, it was probably like another 7 years before I found my path. But it was, again, a dark night of the soul at the bottom of the barrel. At this moment of like, I want to commit suicide. I don't want to be here anymore. Except I got these little boys, got two of them now. They're in grade school. They need a mama. I'm a really bad mom, but they need me, like at this point, that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm the only mom they got, and I suck. And but I can't, if I kill myself, they'll have no mother. I can't do that. So what am I going to do? And this idea came to me. Well, if you want to die, why don't you just die to yourself? And stay alive. Try that before actually taking your life. Like see if you can make that work. And that's what I decided. I said, I don't like any of this story that I've created. And I didn't realize I had created it at this point. I just said, I don't like if I was sitting in a movie watching my life story, I would get up and walk out. I would like, this story sucks.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. Like I'm done. And I thought, I have to change this. And so right after that, I had another spirit vision. I started getting these visions and knowings, and I saw the end of the rope. And my dad had been a sailor, so we used to go sailing.
Yep.
And that ship's knot meant something to me.
Yeah.
And it just went poop. And I was like, oh, I see the end of the rope. I'm done. And I had that click that so many women get, the click where you're like, that's over.
I feel like that.
And there's no talking you back into it. It's like, nope. My spine just clicked into place. I'm complete.
Yeah.
And I just told him, I am complete.
Yeah.
This is done.
Yeah.
This is over. This is not how I'm going to raise my kids. And this stuff we're doing is not what I want them to think relationship is. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any idea. I was scared. I was like, oh, I don't know how he's going to react. How people go crazy. I was worried. I was like, as I have been kind of nuts at that point, I'd done a lot of things to push him to the point of going crazy on me. So I was like, ooh, this is scary. But I figured out how I could do it. And my dad helped me move. And one day when he was at work and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not even going to give him a choice. Like, because after trying for 20 years, that's it.
Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliePatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode.
And when you know you're done anyway. There's nothing to be said or yeah.
But see, that's it, Kylie. It's that feeling. No more.
Yeah.
That's the place that we women need to get on this planet so that the rape of our planet stops.
Yeah.
It's the clicks into place. I will not tolerate this anymore. That is a no.
Yeah.
When we all align in that way, no more. We need to find another way. Everything is going to change.
Yeah.
on the planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's that clarity of I'm not, like, for our own habits and stories and what we've created, it's like I'm no longer available for this. It's very clear, isn't it? And that is actually, we were talking before about this autumn phase of the kind of menopause transition in a woman's life. So we, going from maiden to mother and then into this sort of autumn. When I feel into traditional Chinese medicine, which I've studied a fair bit of, the power of autumn is being very clear, like crystal clear, metallic in our yes, that's okay, no, that's not okay, that type of thing. And so when I hear people saying, like, I'm so cranky or so snappy or so whatever the thing is, and I'm like, maybe you've just decided that you're not available for that anymore. So maybe for all of the years or, however long that we've kind of either turned a blind eye or not thought that we're worth more than being treated like that or whatever. And then this autumn energy comes in and it's like, nope. And it's very clear. It's not, I think before when you said about starting to like assert yourself, that to me, that's that autumn energy. It's just like, no, I'm done.
I'm done. And it's so clear.
And it's quiet.
They can be really upset. But the thing is, and this is another message that came out in the book, Love is Fierce. And so I wrote this book, Love is Fierce, Healing the Mother Wound, after my dad passed. And all the family dynamics came to the surface. And my mom and I always had a really rocky relationship where the only thing we could really talk about was the weather. Like, oh, isn't the weather nice today? Oh, yes, it is. And then we're done. Like, there's nothing else to talk about, because as soon as we started talking about anything else, it would lead to this combustion, right? So that departure of my dad as that rock of love between us, it forced me to have to go inside and really choose, do I want a relationship with my mom or am I going to let this thing die? And I chose, no, I can't. And my heart won't let me. I promised my dad on his deathbed I would heal the relationship with my mom. So I kind of had to do it now because the deathbed promise is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so for 2 years, I worked and got all these messages. And the point I wanted to reflect is that there comes this time when you realize that you can't save anyone from their curriculum. You cannot save any person from their soul's curriculum.
Oh, I love that.
When you feel called to take a bold, radical action that to other person upsets the apple cart, that is for them too. Even though you're blamed and judged and shamed for it, that actually catalyzes their growth.
Yeah.
As long as you're clear in yourself that this is absolutely neutral and clear, it's not a vendetta. It's just like, no, I need to do this. Sorry, it's over.
Yeah.
It's like that devastates that person for a reason.
Yeah.
Because that catalyzes that person's own journey with understanding their dynamics in relationship, with owning the stuff that they did that was part of that relationship dynamic, with asking themselves the big questions. What do I want for myself and my kids and my family? What do I want? And how do I want to show up in the world? And for all you women out there who have been like, I started on my spiritual journey. I'm in the beginning phases. I'm going to the psychotherapist. I'm doing my work. He's not doing anything. And I'm so pissed and I want him to do it. And dang, this guy won't even set foot in any self-help thing or look in the mirror. At some point, you might get that wake-up call that that's done.
That's it.
And then guess what? Don't feel bad. Because he might need that big of a brick wall to slam into.
Yeah.
To go, oh. And I can tell you, my ex-husband, the father of my kids, has a much healthier, for him, much more aligned relationship now. And he's much more respectful. I mean, I was like, you were never that respectful with me. But he had to learn. He had to learn that painful lesson. And now he's on a different track.
Mm.
And I don't know a whole lot about it, and it's not my business, but I just noticed that when I'm letting myself off of my own guilt trip hook,
Yes.
it's if I'm clear in myself, this is the direction I need to take. I'm clear in my guidance. And I go, oh, but so-and-so is going to be upset. And mother has always told me, it's not your work.
Yeah.
Your work is to do what I'm asking.
Mm.
Then I go inside and I do the hard work as asked of me. Everything else falls into alignment. And this is the piece that women need to reclaim, Kylie.
Yeah.
This is the piece, because we are the center anyway, but we can be a grounded, rooted, ruthless in terms of love.
Yeah.
Love is fierce.
Yeah.
Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can let the lightning strike us and the whole family falls apart.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I love what you're saying about you can't, steal someone else's curriculum or get in the way of that, because I feel like the biggest, pattern I'm seeing in myself and also my group of friends and clients is that sort of, oh, but I can't do that because like the people pleasing, or they're trying to kind of keep the status quo or whatever. And it's like, if you are giving in a relationship from a sense of obligation or from a sense of like fear about what that other person's going to do or whatever, it's not a clear relationship anyway. So you're actually, by doing that, not only being untrue to yourself, but also being untrue to that other person. So you're not even giving the other person the dynamic, the truth to respond to. And it's like, we get so caught up in all of these like, I don't know, I can't do that because that's not the way of my family, or I can't whatever. I feel like I've been pretty good at being my own version of a woman for quite some time, but I feel like in the last couple of years, the things that the autumn in me have been snipping away is all those last remnants of the putting up with behavior because you feel like it's easier to just ignore it or whatever. But it's that clarity of like, oh, and I think what you said about when you're clear in yourself and it's not, what did you just say, a vendetta or that type of like, it's not revenge. It's not from this nasty kind of place. It's just like, this is actually not okay for me anymore. There's so much peace in that. And it's like, I can't please everyone all of the time anyway, so I just please myself. And then at least everyone's got something true to respond to, right? It's so much
Exactly.
easier.
And that's the hard thing about being a mom too, is that oftentimes the clarity we have inside of ourselves, or even the situation as it is unfolding, is for us and the kids.
Yeah.
And we actually, like, there'll be little circumstances that arise where in the moment I'll have like, because I'm a manifestor by design, and so my emotion is anger. So when anger arises, I'm in my not self. And then I go, oh, I'm in my not self. Okay, that means something's out of alignment in this situation and I'm not addressing it.
Yeah.
So I need to go down and address it, right? And then I'll feel guilty, right? So like there's a situation came up recently with my stepkids where we only live 1.5 miles from school, but they started wanting rides like every single day to and from school and like demanding it. Like, I need to have a ride. And, their dad was like, oh, okay, I'll take you. Right. Like, but then expected me to do it. And I found myself angry. And I acted out one morning out from the anger was present. Right. And I just let it stew in the car the whole way. Like I couldn't help it anyway. Woke up, I just had 1 hour of sleep and I was like in the car driving to school and I was angry. I wasn't going to deny I was angry. So I was being angry in the car, just like, and then some truth started coming, like truth bombs started coming out of my mouth. Yeah. Like this is what it feels like when people have to do things out of obligation. Yeah. That's what this yucky energy you guys have been feeling for a couple of weeks, that's obligation energy. Just wanted you to know that, because this is part of the lesson. We have to understand why we don't do codependency. We have to understand why we work by agreement, conscious agreement, discussion, clear communication,
Mm-hmm.
boundaries, because then we're operating in truth with each other. We're all agreeing, and we might make a choice in that conscious discussion to make a sacrifice, but that's a personal decision to sacrifice. It's not an obligatory, you must sacrifice. And this is touchy territory for any woman today, because we're healing ancestry that's like had to sacrifice obligatorily for a really long time. And that's just not okay with many of us now. So, we want to be part of that discussion. And we want to decide it as a community, as a mini community, a little family, what's healthy for every person here. Not, and not just let the mom be like run over by the bus. But we got to all work together to make this happen. And so we did this lovely thing. We followed up and we had this beautiful with their mom and me and their dad and everything. Like we all had this discussion and everybody got the talking stick and got to share. And we got to do it multiple times until everybody was heard. And then we came up with a conscious agreement.
Nice.
Now that feels good. And I very happily drove them to school that next Friday, right? Because that was my day. And and we made an agreement around it, and they did their part. And so I did my part. That felt so good.
And it's from generosity.
Yes, it's from generosity, wanting to help versus being expected to, and this obligation energy, which I don't want that anymore.
No. I'm a generator, so I get the frustration thing. And not so many times, especially parenting younger teenagers, where I was so full of that frustration and snippy, snappy energy, because I was like, I'm the one that always gives in. And it's like, I see one of my daughters tends down the same track. And even just last week, I said to her, and she's, in partnership with someone. So, learning the very early lessons of all of the things that come with relationship. And she's a very easygoing partner. And sometimes she will push too far. And then, there's a reaction. Anyway, she was really, really frustrated. She's a manifestor as well. So, she was anger. I was probably more so. And I said to her, have you actually tried just saying, this is what I need to feel supported? What do you need? She's like, oh, don't be ridiculous, Mum. And I'm like, what? You wouldn't want to clearly communicate what you need so that there's a chance that you might actually get it? He is not a mind reader.
That is part of the manifestor. The manifestor needs to inform.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so we all owned that's the part I loved most about that conversation is that we all owned our piece of how the dynamic got created. And then at the end, both of our kids were like, I feel closer to everybody right now. Like this conversation actually helped us get closer. And we were all celebrating. My husband and I were like, and their mom, we're all like, we did it. Like they getting it. Like having conversation is the pathway forward, because this whole next age of Aquarius that we're entering is all about relationships. So it's been about power over. In a Piscean age, is like power over matrix. Like what happens when one group has power over somebody else, and then all this bad stuff happens, and the victim rescuer perpetrator triangle, and what happens when you need a rescuer to save you, and all that kind of stuff. We're pulling out of that, and we're coming into sovereignty and clear communication and boundaries and relationships, and in our relationship with ourself, with our family, with our girlfriends, with our boyfriends, with our planet, with our community, and with all the animals and the plants. We're coming into that conversation, and I think it's a really exciting time. And it is challenging because we've got these sticky patterns that have been set in stone that we have to chisel out, and by conscious choice, change through action, right? Leaning into the discomfort and doing it different. And I think that's our generation. I think that's the autumn is here to go, hey, this doesn't work for me. And to teach the younger ones the same thing, like, hey, this isn't working for me. And how can we make this so it works for everybody? I think that's where we're at right now on the planet. And this is such important work.
Yeah. There's so much I want to dive into in what you just said. I'm really interested with when you were writing Love is Fierce. So your dad's passed away, and you make a conscious decision that you're not going to walk away from the relationship with your mum. when you just said about the sticky patterns, that is exactly how they feel to me. It's like almost like irresistibly like drawing me back type of thing. Excuse me. Can you talk about what did you need to heal? Because is your mum the daughter of the Texas grandmother that you mentioned before?
Yes.
Okay, so that kind of makes sense to me. Gotcha. So it sounds like there was, at the very least, quite embedded patterns about what a good woman or a good whatever, like fill in the blank, or God-fearing, whatever the language would be. What other patterns were the stickiest and hardest to unhook for you?
Yeah. So that book has sections.
Mm-hmm.
It's called The Mud for Your Lotus.
Oh, I love it. The mud for your lotus.
And it has many sections in there, but it talks about lots of these patterns. Like it talks about conformity, right? And this is overall like conformity in order to be accepted.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that anymore. We're changing that. It talks about entitlement. I had so much entitlement, and I think anybody in a white presenting body has got some measure of entitlement going on, and we need to heal that, right? So that's entitlement. And there's so many patterns in this book. I mean, that is the longest section in the book, honestly, Kylie. Like it's like 30, 40, or it might be 120 pages. I don't know. It is a really long section. It's like, I'll just read off some of them, I guess. Let's see if I can get to this table of contents. But the mud for your lotus blossom, from thinking to listening, thinking to listening, being right.
Oh, that's curious. A big one of mine.
The being right thing.
Yeah, I realized
so many arguments.
Oh, and I used to use this mantra when I really became aware of that. I was like, oh my God, you don't have to be right about everything. It's like being happy is more important than being right. Like feeling settled in my home, in my sanctuary, in relationship with all the people that I love and care about is way more important than being right. Who gives a fuck whether you're right or not? Like I had to really let go of like, oh no, I don't have to have the last word. I don't need to, there is no need for me to keep stamping my energy on everyone.
Yeah, I mean, those are sticky patterns, especially when people being right have different opinions, right? So, I mean, curiosity is the new medicine for that, right? It's being curious, letting go of the blame game, because we are all involved in that. Denying your responsibility. No, we have to become responsible, and boundaries and conflict. Like you were talking about keeping the peace. I mean, you can see there's like, I don't know, that's all.
There's pages, people, pages.
There's pages. I mean, I could read it, but really there's so many. And yeah, I just kept finding these in myself. So I went inside what the Toltec call my smoky mirror. And I started looking inside that smoky mirror. What is distorting my vision of the truth, the capital T truth? What is in my smoky mirror with my mom? What is that? And with my sons too. And the situations would come up and I'd go, oh, there's entitlement. Okay. And I would write that section and do that work. And then the next one would come out, I go, oh, there's that one. And then, so it was like a peeling back. And like, if it was like a big tangled mass of all these different yarns and threads, I was just like pulling out these threads and just clearing it, and I worked with shamanic medicine. So, but I think, there's many ways to clear things. I mean, there's a bazillion ways out there now to clear anything, right? Any belief or thought. So I just started just doing ritual ceremony, clearing everything. And it cleared up so much stuff to the point where I finished the book and I sent it over to my mom to preview. I gave her like 4 months before it was going to be launched. So she had plenty of time if she wanted to read it.
Yeah.
And she wasn't talking to me this whole time. And then she said, I published it in January. So right before it was Christmas. And she said, she called me 2 weeks before Christmas. I'd like to get together with you and the boys for Christmas Eve. I said, okay. We set the date, we set the thing. And then I was with my coaches and my community that supports me right before that lunch. And I made this big claim, this is a blank slate. It's cleared the past and we're stepping forward. And so it is. And everyone's like, and so it is. And I get to that lunch. My 2 boys are there. One of them is living with her and pissed off at me. he's living here now, so you see it.
Excellent.
It's all fine. But
Yeah.
and all of us are sitting there, and my first thing out of my mom's mouth is, I'm the matriarch of this family, and this slate is cleared.
Oh, she was picking up what you were putting down. Lovely.
So, and we've
Wow.
since done that with my eldest son, who's been a little chaotic in his beginning with life and caused quite a bit of stuff.
Mhm.
And we just did that with him. We just said, okay, remember like we did with your mom,
Yep.
with me, how we cleared it.
Mhm.
Now we're doing that with you.
Yeah.
Because you have caused a lot of havoc in
Yeah.
everybody's lives.
Yeah.
And we're clearing the slate. That's
Mhm.
done now. We're not
Mhm.
going to talk about it anymore.
Mhm.
And wow, light bulbs going off in his eyes, right? These are the kinds of things that seem like a problem, the lead up to all these things happening, but they're actually the medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Mm. What I'm hearing in even the blank slate is a deep freedom to create what the truth, capital T, is moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
In agreement.
And that's another piece of that spider. So you were talking about, I feel like I need to bring this in.
Yeah.
You were talking about, and I loved what you brought in about the spider web, because I was like, oh, I love that.
I can't even
I will
remember
have
what
to
I
be
was
quoting you
listening
now.
to, but it was only like in the last 24 hours. So obviously we were being set up to talk about it.
Absolutely, because that's a piece. That's a really important piece, Kylie, that you brought in about that web and that tensing strand that you feel.
Yes.
Yeah. The other thing about it, spider medicine is what I like to call it, is that it's also the power of our stories. So as the practicing grandmas, right? Because we're in the autumn, as we start to tell the better stories, because we've been moms now, or we've been through a phase of our life where we were birthing or we were holding space.
Yes.
And whether we had children or not. And so we're in that part, and we realized, oh, our words have consequence. Oh, our words create reality. Oh, our words have influence, and our voice is opened and our throats are open, because we've been like the last 20, 30 years, women have been opening their throat chakras. And it's like, okay, now what are we going to create? We use the power of the word to create a new reality on earth together. We weave the webs of a new creation. We weave the webs of a new human interaction. We weave the webs of a whole new life for our future descendants. We have that power today. That's who we are. And if you're hearing this, you know it's you. And I hope you're getting body chills, because like we're here to come together and weave the new webs tapping into feeling the new webs, a new story of our creation, a new creation story. That old creation story doesn't serve anyone.
Nope.
It's hurting us. We need a new creation story, a new cultural story that we live by on this planet. One human tribe, one human family. And I think we're here to make that story together.
Yeah, I agree. So powerful that I'm constantly saying to my girls, they'll say something. I'm like, don't ever language what you don't wish to create. Like your words are so powerful. And always saying that with that kind of looking back, not with regret, but with the awareness that so often when I was out of my power, my language created in a very strong negative sense. And I'm just so clear with that now. It's just like, no, never ever speak what you don't want to create. And to the point where, they'll say something and they'll be like, I know, Mom, delete.
delete. But feel the feelings, feel the feelings fully.
Yeah.
Just resist the urge to wrap a story around it. And that took me 20 years. So,
I know, right?
I mean, however long it takes you to figure out that lesson is fine, but then you can go backtrack and clean up some stuff. And there's so much magic. We have the power to recreate the past in the present, because where does the past live? In our minds.
Yeah.
So we can make that blank slate at any time, clear the energy of it, create the new story, open our hearts, and the whole world can change. And I've proven it can happen, because I did it in my family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you guys see all the stuff I kicked up, you know,
It's like, now I'm clear. Look at the
you will
magic.
see I tested the magic to be sure it worked. So it
I love
does.
it. I love it. I love it. I want to shift our conversation to the inner medicine work that you do with people, because I know there'll be people listening going, I want that. I want to be able to clear these things. I want to have the tools and to understand ritual, and even when you say, waking up spiritually or getting reconnected spiritually, I think there's a lot of women in this transition phase that know that that's what's calling them, but they don't even really know where to start. So can you share how you work with people in inner medicine, please?
Absolutely. So inner medicine is a training, and it is a weekly training because it takes a long time to unweave these patterns. Long time being 15 months. That's pretty quick. So, after spending 20 years on a couch
I was going to
weekly,
say,
a
15
year and a
months sounds
half,
like a
pretty
heartbeat to
quick.
me.
It's as fast as I can make it without people really struggling, because it is a lot of change, right? Because it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. And so I'm doing it as quickly as I can, with people being able to straddle the worlds, between the old reality and the new reality,
Yeah.
without losing their minds and totally collapsing, so
Yes,
a
let's
year and a
not
half.
do that to people.
And it's weekly. And what it is, I think that's so empowering with it, is that it gives you a way to transform all your wounds into wisdom. And you are going to have this medicine bundle that captures all that wisdom with stone energy crystals that magnify it for you. So when you forget, you can just put that to your head and go, wait a second, right thinking, right heart, right love, right action. And it's very simple in the teachings.
Yeah.
But and it also is incorporating your soul's curriculum. And we do that through the gene keys. A lot of people know human design, but not necessarily its adjunct, human gene keys,
Yeah.
GENEKEYS. And those are frequencies that run through your body.
Yeah.
So I have judgment in my chart and
Me
opinion.
too.
Yay, it's helping us be in
Correction,
integrity.
actually. Correction, not judgment. I think it's the same channel. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. And so that those gene keys, you have a chart of 11 gene keys that you personally have. There's 64 total in the human genome. And so we work with that with the medicine bundle. And the medicine bundle is a technology from the Andes Mountains that's been thousands of years. And we work with the lineage of their ancestors beyond the veil, as well as we have a family that supports us. So this is powerful because many of us in the West have lost our connection to the ancestors that understood how to talk to the earth. These lineage traditions that I'm working with, they remember how to talk to the earth. They've kept it alive this whole time. And so they're willing to hold space for us and help us remember how to do that and activate that knowing in our ancestral DNA inside our bodies. So we can wake up to have that pulse on earth you were talking about. We can wake up to tap that web, to know what's going on, and to use that for good for our descendants and our communities. And so I think it's so powerful. Any woman who wants to do this work, any man who wants to do this work, whether you're whatever gender you identify as, because I know we've got a spectrum now, and that's all welcome because we are dismantling all these ideas right now.
Yes.
So in our community, we welcome anybody who wants to do this work and wants to be empowered. And most of the people attracted to my work are people that feel like, you know what, I have a message to bring. I want to be in service. I see what's going on the planet. I want to make a change. I want to step in and use my gifts and my voice. I just don't know how to do it. And maybe I'm doing it, but it's just not as big or strong as I want it to be. So those are the people I usually serve, plus moms, because, who doesn't want to heal their family system?
Yeah, exactly.
And, so that's basically what we do. You get a lot of, there's so much more to it that I can explain to anybody on a discovery call, like the mechanics of what's actually happening. A lot of energy healing, activation in your energy field, uplifting of your gene keys to the medium frequency, the gift, out of those shadows, which are really tough, into the gift frequency where you can actually get some mojo going. It's like, that's, and you get your own medicine. That's what I love. You realize that all the wounds are actually your medicine, and that's unique to you because you took a life journey and a thumbprint journey that's yours. And I love that. It makes you realize everything I've been through is my gift to the world.
Yeah.
And I love it. So
I was
that's what
just
I teach.
talking about that yesterday to a friend. We were talking about the way that we were parented and the way that we choose to parent. And I was like, there's always a flip side. Like, I have been working a lot with the mother wound at the moment, and the gift that I keep on seeing in my current family and community is that the way that I was parented has given me the what's the word? It's like the contrast of how I don't want to do it. But also, one thing that I've been really, really aware of, and you've just said something that's kind of repeated it for myself, is being cut off from ancestors that were connected to the land. I feel like I've done that to myself because I've rejected my mother line. And so, yeah, it's just being aware of that and understanding that there's you can't cut yourself off from the wounds or the trauma patterns without also cutting yourself off from the wisdom and the power and the magic and all of the things that are also there. So I've just realized in the last few months that I do have a tendency of that black and white. I think that is that judgment channel as well. It's like, like discerning one way or the other, but sometimes I do it to spite myself. So I'm like, I don't want to look at any of that, or I don't want to identify with any of that. And it's like, well, you can't cut yourself off from one part of it without also deleting all of the other stuff that's the magic. So thank you for the reminder. That's a very good anchor for me. I'm interested, when you first started doing your own, when you crossed that threshold and decided that spiritual development was part of your own healing way back when your kids were younger and everything, were you drawn to the type of work that you're doing now, or have you just kept on evolving into, and how did you end up connected to the family? Is it in Peru that you were just talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I didn't do any work on this until 2012. So I stood outside that spiritual center and I never went in. That was in
Wow.
California. And
But
then it
there's
just got
something,
worse. It got worse, because I didn't.
Yeah.
And when you avoid the wake-up call, it generally gets worse.
Yeah.
So it got worse. We moved to Texas to be closer to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And it took 2005 to 2012 for me to go, oops.
Okay.
This is dark enough.
Yeah.
This is dark enough for me. And that's that moment I wanted to die.
Yeah.
And I decided to live, and I left him. And I said, I can't heal myself and heal this relationship at the same time. It's not possible. I don't have the resource. I've been trying to do that for 20 years. Obviously, I can't do it. I need to go.
Yeah.
And I started my own journey. And within 6 months, I had my first shamanic teacher locally in Austin.
Okay.
And I started learning about the 4 agreements. I never even saw that book before. If somebody would just give me that book, I think it would have really helped. But I didn't know anybody about that book. So I started reading that book, and I read it front to back 40 times to reprogram my brain.
Whoa.
Because I would start to try to do it and I couldn't. I was like, wait a second, that seemed easy. It's not, And then I started, and then within 8, 9 months of that, I met my first, I met Heather Ashamar, who was one of my female shamanic teachers, warrior goddess. And I met the 4 Winds, Alberto Di Bialdo, and I started studying with both of them at the same time. Cool. Because I was like shamanic buffet. Like, once I realized my path, I was like, just give it to me. I want as much as, like, give me a flood.
I want to
just flood me. Just give me all of it. I want to catch up, and so I just feasted. And I, through Alberto is when I went down to Peru in 2014 for the first time. Mm-hmm. And I actually worked in person with a Caro. And wow, those people are filled with love. It's amazing. The shamans, the medicine people, the medicine women, and the medicine men they wear these rainbow ponchos, and they really are filled with rainbows. Like, they are the only people I've ever met that are totally filled with rainbows. Like, even the other indigenous people I work with are amazing. They just a little different, but these people are filled with rainbows. I
feel really drawn to Peru at the moment.
Oh my gosh, these people.
My mum's tracked in Peru, and she's given me it kind of like one of the coloured, but it's pink, purple, and this really deep indigo blue. And I had put it away in a suitcase and hadn't found it for ages and ages, and I've only just come across it. I'm like, okay. I think I would just follow this thread here. Sensing.
So I started working with, Alberto, and he has many of the Caro people. They said his teacher was a master and passed away, but was a master, one of their last really big masters, and so Alberto's carrying on his tradition. And so his teacher works with us beyond the veil. And, and so I was led to my, Tomás Apaza Somata, because, through some various shenanigans of, realizing that I needed to step out as a teacher, realizing I couldn't wait for my teacher to ask me to be a teacher, because I was called to step out and do my own thing. Because I'm a manifestor. I always have to go after my own thing. I have to follow my own path. And so that wasn't going to work for me. And then I went through some mishaps, before I found the one. And then his beautiful family, his father's a beautiful pillar of the community. And he and his wife, Lucia, hold space for us. And they're wonderful people. And I always feel their love and support. And when we go down there for a retreat, we go visit with them, and they do healing work with us. Tomas travels with us all over the valley doing healing work. And this next time we're going to go to Lake Titicaca, which I have not been to yet. So I'm super excited to go on this trip. And we're also going to go to the Holy Mountain, which is Ausangate, and we're going to do a 1-day visit there. The last group I took had a lot of challenges being at the mountain, because the mountain is very strong.
Yes.
And, and so we're just going to go 1 day this time.
Medicine.
While I get a crew that can go up there and spend another week with me, because it takes a certain calling to go to the Holy Mountain. So we're going to go for 1 day and just meet the Holy Mountain. Hi.
Hi. We're not saying.
Then, if anybody wants to come back for the retreat, it feels called, then they'll be welcomed, right? And it will be a little different situation. So, it's amazing. My life is about face. Like the old book was beautiful because I had children and I loved my life and I had many beautiful experiences, traveled all over the world and had fun. And now this part of my life is like so beautiful because I get to be in service. I've been healing my family. I've been stepping into service and community, building community of inner medicine, tribe, and just pulling people together that feel like leaders and messengers for New Earth, and meeting people like you along the way, Kylie, that are using your voice for good. And I feel so blessed that I get to do this in my waking hours and while I sleep too.
I feel blessed that we were connected. We were connected by another podcast guest who's an author as well. We haven't talked about all of your books. Let's tie it all together with that. You've mentioned one of your books, Love is Fierce, but that is not the only book that you have. So let's go through all of them, and I'm going to put them all in the show notes so people can go and marinate in more of your wisdom.
Awesome. Yeah, the first book was Awakening to Me, One Woman's Journey to Self-Love. And that one I started that one in 2012 when I started my class. And then I didn't know anything. And I was like, I just heard this voice and I was like, I'm going to do what? I'm going to write about transparently. I'm going to share my whole journey. I'm going to do what? That doesn't sound good for my family or me, but I did.
Have you read it again?
Yeah, it's actually on Audible too. So I've read it out. When I read it back out loud for Audible, that was really another transformation because I had already been on my journey of healing for a while. And to speak it out loud, and I was bringing in some of the way I would have spoken it before and bringing that forward. And it was like, oh, this is so interesting. So that was it's a fascinating. Yeah, it's powerful because for anybody who's been diagnosed mentally ill, that book will really help you out because I was diagnosed borderline personality and that was really traumatic for me. And I was having a hard time with sexual addiction and love addiction. And it was tough. So that book is very transparent. Just warning. So that was the first one. And then the second one was from we to me. So I was talking about that transition out of relationship into being an independent woman and all the things I was facing along the way and dating in midlife, which is so awkward and strange. And, dealing with, an STD that I had that I didn't want anybody to know about. And I talk all about that. And so that book is also really transparent, but it's a little bit more expository. It's less like story based. Yeah. And that one again is like, the unknown soldier, it's just on Amazon. But the book that really was my breakthrough was The Second Wave. And that one in 2019, I got the message again, meditating on the front lawn. You're going to write a book. And I was like, what am I writing this time? Because by now I'm a little bit scared, you know? And it's like The Second Wave. I said, what is that? And I was reminded of Dolores Cannon and her work and the 3 waves of volunteers. And so I went and looked it up on YouTube to remind myself. And I said, I don't know anything about that. And it said, you do. You know? And we're going to channel this book. And so I said, okay. So
I'm here.
I basically channeled that entire book in a month, and then it's been on the charts ever since. Published in July 2019, but on the 5 countries on the charts. I'm not doing that. That's the uppers.
That's that magic.
Anyway, that's the uppers. And then my next book after that, as soon as I published that book, was when I just published it, and a week later, I was sitting in the front lawn. And the message comes in, you're going to write another book. I'm like, I just published. I said, this one is important. And I said, okay, Love is Fierce, Healing the Mother Wound. And I was like, oh no.
I'm not signing up for that. No.
I was like, this does not sound fun. So yeah, I began that journey. That took 2 years. I published that one in January 2021, and it was an international bestseller, but it hasn't really, it's just a difficult book. So, you know, it has its audience. You know?
Yep.
Those are really committed people. Like that book is very helpful, but it's not like, you know, real famous or popular, because not a lot of people want to do that work up until now. Yeah. So hopefully that will change.
Yeah.
And then after, last year, then I was like, another book came in. It was like, you're going to write this book now. And a couple others came in, but they filtered out. I started and they stopped. And then this one came in and I was like, okay, what is it this time? Inner Medicine. And I was like, oh, and then I heard the subtitle, Becoming One with Mother Earth for the Survival of Humanity. And I really asked, I said, that sounds so dramatic. Is that really the message I'm going to put out there? That sounds like dun, 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 know, like disaster pending.
Yes.
Do I really want to create fear? And no, it was like, no, that's the title. Yeah. That is the title. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to hold that space then. That's the space I'm going to hold. And I believe that we can do this. I know that we already have, because listen, I used my energy medicine to change timelines to get to the one where we succeed.
Excellent.
Using all of my training with the 4 winds. And I went through a lot of chaos in my family as a result of that, because everybody else has to catch up to what I just did. But, you know, I think they're all catching up now. Finally, my really sensitive 24-year-old son, I think, is finally stepping into his power. That was a lot of magic I pulled, but we are on the timeline that actually succeeds. Now, it doesn't mean we can't still screw it up, but I feel like we have the best odds in this timeline. If anybody's listening to this, we have the best odds. So don't give up. It's not a done deal.
No,
either way.
Absolutely not.
We have to commit ourselves to what we're creating, what we're co-creating together, which is why our words are so important.
Yes. We
get to step our way to new earth every single conversation. This conversation, everybody that listens to this is a pebble in a pond. Everybody that tells a story about this is a pebble in a pond. Pebbles connecting to pebbles, ripples connecting to ripples. And we are creating a new earth right now in this conversation right here, and every single other conversation like it, whether it's broadcasted or at your kitchen table, it doesn't matter. We're all creating a new reality that we want to see, not the one the news is showing, the one we want to see. Yeah.
We're knitting the new tea cozy for the earth, people.
We are.
It's such a weird reference. I'll have to show you.
It's fun.
Actually, no. We'll wrap up. It has been an absolute pleasure. I knew it was going to be a fun chat, but we've gone in so many different directions that I did not foresee, which is the magic of these conversations. Thank you so much for coming on to the show and sharing your wisdom. We will put all of those links in the show notes. Highly recommend people. I'm going to go and buy a few books, I think, after we get off the call. I definitely am signing up for the mother wound stuff, because I know that that's my biggest biggest transformation potential. So thank you, Kerri,
Beautiful,
for
Kylie.
being
Thank you.
here. Lovely to speak to you.
Thanks so much for listening into today's episode. If you love the show, as I hope you do, please take the time to subscribe on your favourite pod listening platform and rate and review. And for bonus points, if you have a friend or someone who popped to mind as you were listening to this episode, why not hit the share link wherever you're listening and send them a little love bomb. Like, listen to this. Did you know this is normal? I really, really, really would love to get these beautiful stories into the hearts and ears and minds of so many more midlife mavens. And your help spreading the love is truly, truly appreciated. Thank you so much. I'm Kylie Patchett, your host, and have a spectacular day.